Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Plough Lane for another Tuesday night under the lights as we host Stevenage. To my left I'm joined by Andy Brassel, and to my right Stuart Deacons, and I think we're going to go through some team news to start. Testing Spike here under the pressure, there we go. Immediately we've only named 5 subs out of a potential 7, which is always slightly concerning, but with the injury concerns we've had, I'm guessing that's probably leading to that. Andy, anything there that stands out for you?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Amani Little at first hand for the first time, actually, fellas. So that's exciting for me. He's made a really terrific impression so far. The amount of work he gets through, I think he might need to tonight. I'm rather surprised that Woody's starting, as I was saying to you before, because he took a few knocks at the weekend. I wondered if Johnny Jackson might give him a bit of a rest, maybe for George Marsh. Obviously, he's a hugely important player for us. But yeah, looking forward to the first-hand look, Armani Little and Ali Al-Hamadi.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I think Woody's looked a little bit jaded in recent games, and I think George Marsh is unlucky to not be in this team. He played very well against Bradford when he was called upon earlier on in the season. But yeah, Stu, anyone there that really stands out for you?
No, do you know what? I think it's literally just what we've got available, isn't it? In terms of bench-wise, probably not a surprise, Pierre, like Will Nightingale, Cannon Baye. So it's another pairing, isn't it? But I think them two have played with each other before, haven't they? So it's nice for Will getting... The thing I was more concerned about was Will Nightingale getting 3 games in a week, whether we would play him on that one. So you don't know whether he plays Saturday. But I'm actually gutted that Pell's not fit, because like him, Woody and Lee Brown against this Stevenage side could be quite fun, couldn't it?
No, I think it really could be.
Just say Pell versus Steve Evans.
You can imagine nice. Pell just getting himself to the touchline, just staying there a little bit. But it's just a bit gutted in a way. Yeah,
no, I mean, he'll be playing right wing first half, left wing second half, just to keep himself as close to that bench as possible.
But yeah, do you know what? I think if you look at it in terms of Amani Little now is making that position his own already, isn't he? I agree with Woody. I thought with that not, but I think with Woody, I think you have to really be out to not. Although I think he's had, I think form-wise he has dipped a little bit for his standards.
Yeah, I mean he set the bar quite high, so for him a dip is still definitely lead to quality.
The squad depth at the moment, just yes, Marsh could swap for that, but that's really what we got, isn't it? But it's still a strong 11.
Oh, absolutely. I think Ali Al-Hamadi obviously was lucky to see his goal on Saturday. It was an our end, and it was really, really tidy footwork and a lovely finish through some defenders as well. So hopefully he can get 3 from 3 tonight, and get some goals, because we were lacking goals for a while. We've got 3 in the last 2 games. It just needs to sort out the other end of the pitch, which seems to be our issue at the moment. And as you mentioned, a different centre-back partnership again. But luckily Lee Brown and Gunter can hopefully guide that us at the back there, and Jack Curry's omission just kind of stands out to me.
Yeah, I should just think about that. It's not. Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Since obviously the transfer window stuff and that, he's not really had much of a look in injury-wise. But it's that part of the season, isn't it, where we knew we had quite a few games coming up, and it's where the squad is a little bit, I wouldn't say bare, but you just pick up a few injuries and there you are.
You can only name 5 subs from 7,
and one's a goalkeeper. I don't think Nathan's going to play up front at all.
We'll get him on a centre back.
Let's score the winner. I'm going to say.
It does, though. In all seriousness, it does put pressure on Josh Davison, doesn't it? Because it's, he come off as sub, didn't he, on Saturday against Gillingham. So I think if you look at his stats, I think he's probably played the most minutes out of a whole lot, probably barring Zanev. But we just can't give him a rest. Thankfully, he's one that just keeps playing.
I think really, Stu, he's kind of a victim of the way he plays. He's far too selfless in a way. I mean, that's great for the team.
Yeah.
But I think the fans recognise that generally. You have a few people saying, well, "Where's the goals? We need more goals."
Yeah.
It's like, come on. I think if he had someone to play off, it would be different. But he is the person to play off, and he sacrifices himself a lot there, I think.
Oh, he does. And the interesting thing is against Hartlepool as well. We played a 2-up, didn't we? Played Al-Hamadi, and actually it was probably quite nice for him to get a partnership. And I'm not convinced that Al-Hamadi wants to play out wide, if I'm being honest with you.
No.
Even though he's got 2 goals from there. So it'd be interesting to see if we do get them together, because I think Al-Hamadi's better through the middle.
Massively.
And drop in there, do you know what I mean? So it'd be interesting if we can get support up to Davison, because let's be fair, this Stevenage team are quite, well, they haven't won many games recently, but they are very tight.
They're very defensively sound as well, and as a team that's not particularly great at attacking as we are, I think
you just said we got 3 of our last 2.
Yeah, but we don't seem to like playing too much football in that final third. It has been a little bit of hoofball as of late. It's definitely something I've noticed, and a team that's defensively sound could really struggle. I don't know if we've got their team lineup. I don't know if that's been put into this Is it the cloud?
Yeah.
There we go.
Into the
There
cloud.
we go. Is it the cloud? Yeah.
Yeah, it is the cloud.
There we go, and that's their team there. Obviously, Toby Saven on loan from Accrington on the emergency loan. Captain Carl Piergiani, he's one of the best players in the division, let alone best defenders. So it will definitely be a challenge for Josh Davison tonight, and I imagine they'll be marking him quite heavily. Interesting that Jake Forster-Caskey makes the bench. Obviously, someone that we wanted in the January and also last season, and were unable to get. But yeah, again, just Andy, any of those really that stand out for you if you've got any knowledge of Stevenage?
not particularly. You know, I'm not even going to pretend it to do so. But I've been told that Piergiani is a player to watch. So I'm interested to see how he does against Davison.
Yeah. And Jake Reeves obviously returns to Plough Lane. His first time, or did he Bradford?
No, I don't think he did with Bradford. No, I don't think he did with Bradford.
After the injuries he had after leaving Wimbledon, obviously it's clear where we want it to go tonight, and if he has a night off then great, but it's just good to see him playing again.
Massively.
He was terrific for us.
Yeah,
it's when they come back and they look old, because he is now. He must be in his 30s or something, and we remember him when he was a very fresh-faced youngster, so that's when you
can't keep the curtains forever.
I know. I think he's got a bit of a beard now as well, do you know what I mean? So I think if you look at it, interesting one there, Forster-Caskey on the bench, obviously one that we were rumoured with, doesn't even get into their team. Bostwick as well, decent.
Very experienced.
And Rose as well. So their bench is quite strong on there, isn't it? But yeah, Pirigani, we've got some Stevenage fans that are joining us in a little while, and that's one of the players that we've highlighted.
Daryl Horgan's an interesting one for me there. He was at Wickham for quite a while, so I'll be interested to see how he adapts to League Two life. I believe he signed in January, so I think on loan. So it'll be an interesting one to watch today. I think we will jump into some highlights. I think we've got Hartlepool, so we'll throw it back to that. It was not the greatest of games, come full time, but we did get some goals.
The cost of Wimbledon being hard to beat has been not scoring enough goals. That's the conundrum for Johnny Jackson, with Wimbledon finding the net just once in their last 6 games. The playoffs could still be a realistic target if the goals return pretty quickly. How Hartlepool would love to have similar problems, 23rd in League Two, with 1 win in 5. Keith Curl crying out for that game, the game to change their fortunes, hoping for a momentum shift here. Despite the lack of goals, home form for Wimbledon has been pretty good. Have to go all the way back to October to find their last defeats here at home. They have some defending to do though here, as Jennings manages to win the ball to set Hartlepool away. Sanev shifting it wide. Hamadi looking for the give and go. Jayasimi instead lifting into the area. Decent looking goal, and they'll have to try again from the right-hand side here. It's lifted into the box towards the edge of the 6-yard box while Davison was there, and in the end it's lashed over. The question is, can they find their goal-scoring touch? Lee Brown with the ball back into midfield. Armani Little is on the run here. He'll go for goal, and it's well pushed away. Brown racing away here, plenty of space too on the left-hand side. He lifts in, a decent looking ball, and they make the connection. Al Hamadi is there, and AFC Wimbledon find their goal-scoring touch. Lovely breakaway down the left-hand side. There's nobody really watching Brown. He's got so much time to play the ball in, and Al Hamadi does ever so well to get in between the 2 defenders to break the deadlock. AFC Wimbledon almost expecting the press here, but it's not really coming from Hartlepool. Chislett on the break, with Davison ahead of him. He'll go for goal instead. It was well saved by the goalkeeper, but he can't stop the follow-up. Jayasimi is there, and Wimbledon's new strike force doing the business. It's 2-0 here. Home fans have started to get used to this. Here at Plough Lane, they are a formidable force. Simple in the end for Jayasimi, and he's off to the best of starts. For another. Taylor Ferran, the Arsenal loanee, is there in company. Another shooting opportunity here. And clutching hold. And again, it's all too easy for Wimbledon to find the room inside the area. Giacchini wants it, he passes on unselfishly. Well, it's another good chance for Josh Davison. And another one that's flashed wide. Taylor Ferran's long ball to give Wimbledon a few things to think about here at the back, and they have considered a free kick is lifted over the wall spectacularly. Dan Kemp pulls the goal back for Hartlepool. No wrestling match to get to the ball, and it's one that Hartlepool win and one that Wimbledon thrash away. Anywhere will do at this stage as they try to hold on. Hartlepool banging on the door. Away here breaks Kiernan. Now Ferguson, hanging delivery into the area, right onto the head of Dan Kemp. Deep into injury time, Dan Kemp at the double. Well, Hartlepool certainly needed a result to galvanise their season. They may just have found that result here. Dan Kemp.
And there we go. A rewatch of heartbreak from the last time we were at Plough Lane, which was obviously last week on Saturday after we went to Gillingham. We will head over to those highlights later on in the show, which was, again, slightly disappointing state of affairs. But one thing that was interesting to me was Lee Brown getting an assist, and people saying that he was quite defensive and not really kind of hindering our attacking output. But you know,
yeah, that's right. Well, we've seen a lot of him playing at left centre back, haven't we?
Yes.
Over the last little while. So I think we forget that he's a full back too. So lovely to see that combo with Al Hamady there. It's a very inviting cross.
Well taken header as well, I thought.
Yeah, it was, and it goes back to what you were saying before about Al Hamady being more effective in the centre. I mean, I think what everyone's so excited when I speak to people about Ali Al Hamady, it's the fact that, you know, I accept that we are where we are, and you have to borrow players, and you know that is part of being a League One and League Two team, and I think people, you know, just have to accept that. But I think that we've signed him on a contract for a couple of years. It feels like he's ours. It feels like he's a project. It feels like we're going to work with him, and he's going to grow. So it feels now like Johnny Jackson was talking before this game about putting in the yards and prepping us for next season. I think Al Hamady is a huge part of that, and you know, if he has a good run in, he could be really great for us next season. Yeah,
it's quite exciting. We get a promising player on like a permanent deal, like you said. We've always had players that have been like, you know, say don't fall in love with a lone player. Marcus Forss, for example, you know.
Oh, we've been there.
You just imagine those sort of quality players you can get, and I'm not saying he'll be as good, because he might be, but I've only seen 3 games of him, so I can't comment too much.
Definitely, just going to read this one, the full message on it. So the Tiger, so happy to have the pre-match show. We only get Premier League, Bundesliga and La Liga news where I live, so it's nice to have something focused on Wimbledon. So Tiger, whereabouts are you? On that side, yeah. Do you know what? Now Hamady, yeah, it's an interesting one. Because don't forget, Gareth Ainsworth didn't really want to let him go,
let him go. They released the video, didn't they?
And we interviewed Al Hamady a little while ago, and chatting off camera, he was saying that Gareth Ainsworth phoned him to see how he's getting on. Do you know what I mean? So long as he leaves him alone at QPR now, on that side of it. But yeah, he's obviously well thought of, isn't he? He's only 20, and like I say, when I met him, he's a very lived in 20, if that makes any sense. He's had a real, he sounds like 23, 24 from, you know, what experience he's had. So to have him 20, one of ours, it's quite nice to have a forward one of ours as well, isn't it? We haven't had that for a little while. Now we've got 2, and Josh Davison as well now. So we've got some, you know, our players, and if they progress and do well, then we benefit.
I'm trying to think, the last striker we signed that was quite young, who we had on the permanent, I'm thinking maybe Tommy Wood. Would that be like from a higher level? I'm trying to think. I don't think we've
it's a great question. I can't give you
answers on the right hand side of the screen, please.
You probably might go back to like League 2 with Tom Elliott and stuff like that. You might go back that far.
Yeah.
Because Lyle Taylor wasn't young, nor was Bayo, was he? I think you're probably looking at
Piggott was 24 when he signed him.
Piggott. Probably Joe Piggott, to be fair. Although he looked old, didn't he? When he joined, he did look old, didn't he? One of those.
I'll take him back in a heartbeat, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, would you, Eck? Yeah, definitely.
The comment there is from New Hampshire, USA.
Okay,
France stateside.
And the World Cup's out there in a couple of years, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. Comment there. I've just seen it from Shazeb Ali Hamady. Could be our new Asal.
Wow.
And that would be pretty fantastic if we can,
wouldn't it?
get $1.5 million from me in a couple of years as well. Be a good income for the club. But no, I think he's got that potential to be a good striker for us, and I'm just hoping he's not tapped up, like you said, by Gareth Ainsworth at QPR anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think the connection with Asal is interesting because they're very different types of players, of course. But what I feel in the early stages of Al Hamadi is that he feels a very Wimbledon player.
Yeah.
You know, he feels as if he can get the bit between his teeth. And Asal was just like that. It wasn't just that he got people off his seats. It was that he'd give a bit back. It's that he had something about him. And I think that's what made him so special to people.
Yeah, Al Hamadi looks like he can look after himself. He's not trying to get a tackle in, and you need that. If you're going to be up there, you're going to be bashed around, especially in League Two. You know, well, tonight he's going to. Tonight he might stay out wide a bit more.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but it's good. You know, you've got to be able to look after yourself if you're going to play up there.
I think it leads quite nicely onto our fair play record, I believe it's probably fair to put it, with the amount of yellow cards we're accumulating.
It's hardly fair.
Because we do seem to be picking up quite a lot of yellows, and we're down the bottom end of the table for bookings. And you know, as a Wimbledon fan, it's not something you're unhappy about. I think you want to be able to stamp your mark on a game, and the players seem to be really stepping up now and coming together. I've said it so many times on pre-match shows and post-match shows. We're becoming a brotherhood. There seems to be a real connection with that squad.
Yes.
I don't know if you've noticed it.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, I think when you go onto socials and you see other people talking about Wimbledon, all other supporters complain about Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened for a long time. That, to me, feels like quite a positive thing. You want fans of other clubs sniping about our team and saying they're a pain to play against and I hate to watch them and it's the worst game we've had down here this season. Bring it on. I love all that.
I think Harry Pell does have about half the division on strings as well.
Maybe.
I think we had Gills fans tweeting him, we had Leighton Orient tweeting him. Like, do you know what? I'm not unhappy about it. I've always cried out for our players to really care, and Harry Pell does that.
Do you know, interesting, Gillingham fans were very much about Wimbledon, saying, you know, like loads of bookings, very niggly. And first half, there was a bit in the first half that I loved where Harry Pell, I think, got taken out on the halfway line. There was a booking. We played it in, and Harry Pell literally launched for a header and took out their player doing it. It just tipped over the crossbar. But, yeah, do you know what? We're not a soft touch.
No.
And that's what I like about it. And we play within the rules. Yeah, we do pick up bookings. You naturally will. I think we pick up bookings for the descent too much, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, there's something about this team that just doesn't. It's not going to get bullied. It's going to stay in the game.
Yeah, that's massive progress from last season, isn't it? You know, and that's what it's all been about. You know, if you haven't forgotten the end to last season, or we've all tried, but you know, I think to move on from that was the most important thing of this campaign, really.
And starting with that 2-0 win, I think could at the start of the season, I think it couldn't have really done us any better. I think we managed to get that kind of the cloud from over our heads and move forward with that. There is a comment there about Ali Al-Hamadi celebrating with the fans at Gillingham, and he really did go in and he got quite a big hug. I think he got about 8 hugs by the amount of people that were down there. But I think it does just show that he's already loved here and it's been 3 games, and I feel that's quite a good omen because we're not very good at signing strikers in January, so hopefully we've signed one that will fit the bill. But on the topic of Gillingham, I think we should head into that goal and re-watch it back.
A club on the rise. Gillingham have roared out of the bottom 2 in Sky Bet League 2 with the help of 3 wins in 4 in the division as they look to continue AFC Wimbledon's winless run at Priestfield Stadium this afternoon. The visitors have suffered 3 draws and a loss in their last 4 outings, failing to score in 3 of those clashes. Johnny Jackson frustrated to see his side continuing to slide away from a possible playoff push in the last few weeks. Perhaps this afternoon. McDonald to take. Beautiful ball towards the back post. Wide open was Hawkins. Only Hawkins will feel. Lovely whipped-in ball that's palmed away. Morris had to get something onto it. Comes back towards his goal as well. Deflects safely away, but another corner to come. Move into enemy territory and find those little pockets as they push forward. Jeffries skins his man, gets into the penalty area. And Sanev is safely behind it. Just pinging around rather untidily in the middle of the park. This has turned into a real bit of hard graft for both sides, and a free kick comes the away side's way. Brown. It's reverted for the moment and tipped over by Morris. Donald takes the reins again. Stepping inside, look at the space he's got to pull the trigger. Took a deflection and off the crossbar. And finally, Jeffries, who's been lively at times. This is Tutonda supporting him, although he's almost lost possession. He has lost possession. A chance suddenly on the counter-attack, perhaps. It's a great ball over the top. Al Hamadi has plenty of support, but he goes alone. Advantage AFC Wimbledon. 7 minutes after the restart, Ali Al Hamadi thumps one past Glenn Morris, and the deadlock is broken. A quick counter, he's just onside when he makes his break through the two defenders, and he had so much to do here. Red shirts are plenty, providing the support. Davison wanted it pulled back to his feet, but Al Hamadi going alone and getting his reward. And the travelling supporters, Shea Alexander, burst down the right. McDonald will send the set piece in. It's a good header, tipped on to the goal frame and eventually turned in by Max Emmer. Boot to it. Tutonda sends it back, whipped into the box once more. Really good pressure. And Gillingham have flipped the script. Shea Alexander gives them the advantage. They just want the full-time whistle here. And Gillingham have weathered the AFC Wimbledon storm, and they will keep 3 points on home soil this afternoon at Priestfield Stadium. Goals perhaps from unlikely candidates.
There we go. After the, if you can call them highlights from Gillingham, we're now joined to our far left by Rob Boyce.
Hello.
Hello, mate. We are waiting on a Stevenage fan, and Rob, you're going to join us after, but I believe they're tied up currently.
Yeah, they're interviewing Steve Evans, so maybe he's kept him a bit longer. But
Yeah.
so I think we just go through our Stevenage stuff.
Yeah, fantastic.
Anyway.
Rob, just kind of immediately from that, what were your kind of key takeaways from Gillingham?
Disappointing that we didn't hold on to the lead, to be honest with you. You know, it's 2 games where, you know, we've been in front and dropped points. It's my main takeaways from it, to be honest with you. It's good for Ali, he's got 2 and 2, so he'll be
Massive.
flying in confidence, but then also a downside for we've picked up a couple of knocks from that. Obviously Powell's not in the squad tonight, and we know he came off. You know, it looks like Jack Howie's picked up a knock as well. So yeah, it's a bit annoying. In fact, not only have we not picked up the points maybe we deserve, but we've now come into this game tonight, you know, a bit depleted.
Massively. Obviously, with only the 5 from 7 subs, it's always a little bit of a warning sign when you see that. What we will do now, though, is we'll jump into some Stevenage. I think we've got some graphics with some Stevenage facts. I believe there's one about their centre-back, who's probably going to be the one to watch today. Like I said earlier, he's one of the... I think he's ranked on FootMob, so I don't know how... I think they're quite good for stats. He's 3rd ranked best player in the league, so that's saying something for a defender.
Who's the top 2 out of interest, you know? That's putting you on the spot, isn't it?
I would look to Stevenage. I think one... No, it's gone. But 6 goals and 2 assists from centre-back is never a bad thing.
He's just ever present as well. He was at Oldham as well when Oldham were doing okay in the league. But he just looks a bit of a monster, doesn't he? Like
it's that headband, I think.
Yeah, and I notice the way his arms are literally like, I think he's literally got the most shortest sleeves possible in there. But I remember when Steve Evans went into Stevenage, I think he was one of the first signings. And then every signing was bigger and taller than the previous one. He literally brought in every, you know, and I just remember when they got hold of this one, I was just like, he's a statement in a way of how you're going to play. You're going to be solid, you're going to be strong, and obviously 6 goals. You can imagine there from corners and set pieces, can't you?
Yeah.
On that side, but Stevenage are kept. I gave him a clean sheet because technically defenders do get clean sheets. They should do.
Yeah.
You know, so 15
clean of them as well. So
yeah, and we're not far behind them on that. We're just
we're on
not
12,
scoring the goals, but their form's not great, is it?
You know what's true? I think that's one thing I'm really disappointed by Harry Powell not being in the squad tonight. Like I know he's, you know, been a bit out the side, or out of form recently, but you know, I do just notice Stevenage are just that big physical side, aren't they? And I feel like this is the sort of game where he'd thrive in tonight if he was fit and available.
This is another Leyton Orient night, isn't it?
Yeah,
different team, but it's that sort of midweek.
Suits him,
I'm hoping Plough Lane will be as buzzing as it was for that game, because you could, and I hate to use cliches, but you could genuinely feel the tension in the air. Like, it was genuinely electric.
Yeah, and I feel that was a turning point, really.
Yes.
You know, that game showed what the team is capable of. It showed the team what they're capable of as well.
Yeah, massively. Rob, I've got an update for you on the top 2 players in
God,
the league.
hit me with it. Hit me with it.
Elliot Watt
Okay.
and Owen Moxon.
Elliot Watt Salford's very good.
He's got a lot of goals as well.
Yeah,
I think,
very good.
But yeah, sorry, other team talk aside, just to get that point across. But yeah, no, I think they're gonna set up well today. I think we've got sorry to put Spike under pressure here. I think we've got a stat for their home and away. There we go. This will kind of show you that is, as me and Nick were slightly confused at the last home game. That is our home form versus their away form, which is actually very helpful. So.
Yeah, and do you know what? I found a lovely picture. Steve Evans going a bit dulapping. I'm hoping that Johnny Jackson will be looking like that tonight. A bit smug. A bit smug on the touchline.
I was going to say, Stu, it must have been hard for you to find that picture of Steve Evans. Must have searched the deep depths of the internet.
Can I say, actually, I like Steve Evans in terms of not his personality, but if you... Hey, look, not funny, right? I think there's another stat we've got. He's managed over 1,100 games. You know, his success is... He's just Marmite, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? I can't believe he'd ever be at Wimbledon. But he's Marmite, isn't he? But he gets teams playing.
Incredible win percentage.
Yeah.
Really, for someone who's managed that many games and sort of quite a diverse range of clubs.
Yeah.
He does get people's backs up, but he gets results everywhere.
Yeah, he backs his players up. So he's one of those, do you know, when he's here, he's a pound one villain, isn't he? Yeah. And no doubt him and Rayner will just wind everything up. Be interesting to see whether we get involved in it.
I was going to say, shall we cut to Steve Evans' managerial stats and then come back to this slide here? Talking of win percentage. You can see
it's ridiculous, isn't it?
At Stevenage, 55.8, that is extremely high. You know, and even 42.5 over 1,140 games.
It's not a small number of games.
It's a good return. I mean, to put in comparison, most Wimbledon managers over the last 5-6 years average about 30% win percentage. Yeah. You know, I looked at Wally Downs, Glyn Hodges, Mark Williamson. We hit around about 32%. So you know, like I said, he's a bit of a Marmite manager, but he's a successful manager.
And do you know what? He normally goes where the money is. If you think about Crawley, Rotherham, Leeds United was a weird one, wasn't it? That was a curveball, wasn't it? But Mansfield had money, Peterborough had money. And so the last 2 teams had Gillingham, not as great. And Stevenage, could argue, haven't got loads of money. I listened to an interview with him, and he basically said when he joined at Stevenage, he said to the chairman, I'm going to strip the squad. I think they had like 30 odd pro players, and he stripped it down to under 20, but paying higher salaries with a smaller squad, which is a chance because you get injuries, you're in trouble. So I don't think Stevenage got loads of money, but he's still producing it here, do you know what I mean? So it's an interesting, but again, people don't like him, do they, do you know what I mean? But I think I'm actually looking forward to seeing him tonight. That's the stupid thing about it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Pantomime villains in town, basically,
he gets himself wound up, but, you know, it's for fun.
I think Lee Brown will definitely play up to that when he's on that side. I think he'll have a field day.
Yeah, there might be a bit of jostling when the ball goes out of play and he prepares to take a throw. Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, I think we'll just jump back into that other stat slide. Just with, I think it's quite interesting that they've got the best defensive record in the league, or second best, sorry, as it says. But they've got, I think it's the least amount of expected goals against them, which is quite remarkable for a team who, you know, going into this campaign, I don't think anyone would have put them really up in that top 3 or fighting really for promotions. They were. I mean, Leyton Orient seemed to have steamrolled away a little bit now with a massive. I didn't realise it was 71 points at this stage. is remarkable, but yeah, I don't think anyone could have predicted that Stevenage would be up there.
And I guess Wimbledon fans can look at that and think, you know, that could be us next season. You know, I think budget helps, high wages help. We're never really going to be in that top bracket, even in League 2, but that's fine. That's why we've had to get it right upstairs and why we have to get it right upstairs. It's all about marginal gains from here on in.
Absolutely, and if anyone is a betting man, all the goals there, average minute conceded and scored, are between the 50th and 57th. So there's that there. That's an interesting stat. Might be a really interesting first half.
I think most of our games we're drawing at half time. Do you know what I mean? That sort of side of it. The interesting, I was looking at points per game, just being nosy, and actually our points per game at home is above the league average, which isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Always good to see.
It feels like we've done all right here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we were really good at the start of the season here, weren't we?
We've got some tough games coming up with Mansfield, Salford. Still got some decent teams to come here, but we're doing okay. If you look at last year, home form wasn't great. We're a bit more of a fortress here, aren't we? So hopefully that continues tonight.
And hopefully the atmosphere can help back that up as well, because it has been really, really good here in some midweek games. Really getting under the lights, and for me personally, I think there's nothing better than a football game under the lights. I think it just adds something to it. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it's that, especially those 3 o'clocks that start in the day and end of the night. Yeah, different gravy.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, what you really want is an away goalkeeper with contact lenses, because when he looks up into those lights, he ain't going to be catching nothing afterwards.
Oh dear, in the advertising boardings as well, didn't you? In trouble, yeah.
With the power cut the other week, I was like, I can see the picture all of a sudden.
Sure, I laughed the other week. Rygas had their bright orange, and I was like, oh my days, like, who done orange? Like, it was, because you remember Kings Mellow, wasn't it? Like, the orange really stood out, and someone done that. But yeah, interesting. There's something. Mark saying if Sal was still around, we'd be bottom of the Fair Play League. Has anyone actually looked to see if he's got any bookies out?
I don't know. I can't find the stats for that league. I'm struggling. I'm trying to see. I know he scored a goal. Yes. I think he's played 5 games of their starts or not. I'm not sure, but
is it possible to get that annoyed in an empty stadium?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the question, really, isn't it?
There's some fans slightly further up north that might do.
I was going to say I saw Sal scored at his debut, but not heard anything since.
Yeah. It was quite strange he got loaned out as well within 10 minutes of being announced.
Yeah, that's because the team he went to there's a rule out there that they've got a certain amount of foreign players in their team, so they've got to loan him out and then they're going to register him in the summer. So they couldn't register him for this season. So
it's weird.
Really, my thought is in Portugal they've started showing Saudi League since Cristiano Ronaldo went out there. So when are you announcing your deal with Qatar Stars League?
It'll be a 9-year special.
It's weird about Sal, right? Is I always felt when we sold him, he would stay in the Football League, so he'd be in the Championship or something. And it's really weird. We sold him, and actually we can't really follow his progress in a way.
It's disappeared almost.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't want to see him play for anyone else. No, to be honest, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people have looked at this deal and thought it's a bit of a funny one. Some people have said, he's shot himself in the foot career-wise, he's just done it for the money. I think that's a weird way to look at it personally, because if you look at leaving, being a really great player in League 2 and making it all the way to the Premier League, it's a massive gulf. I mean, the clubs that have been linked with him, Bolton?
Sunderland were in Hull as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I understand those are bigger clubs. It's still a really long way to the Premier League.
Yep.
If you go out and play well in Qatar for a couple of years, not only are you going to make a ton of money, and let there be anyone out there who says that that's not important, it is important.
Of course.
Basically securing
after himself and his family.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think it opens up all these new horizons. I mean, maybe he stays there and gets paid and fine, but you're more likely to go to France, Turkey, play for Morocco, all of those sort of things that could be super important to you. It opens up a load of new horizons.
It's funny you should say that, Andy, because the Moroccan team in the World Cup had a few players from the Qatari League, so I know Asal was looking at that. In fact, he saw, because his ambition is obviously to make it to the Moroccan international team, and he sees it as this could be an opportunity for him to get into the Moroccan team, and then if he has a good, for example, World Cup qualifiers, could get a Championship Premier League come back in 4 years' time after he's made his money. He's still young, so he has got it all mapped out for himself, and good luck to him. No,
and I think it's quite a good point. You see a lot of players now currently, I mean, more in the academy. We're kind of getting slightly away from here, but it's a point I wanted to make. You see a lot of players that kind of go further afield to get their opportunity. Jude Bellingham's a perfect example.
Yeah.
You've got the likes of Jamie Bino-Gittins at Dortmund at the moment, and those sort of players that are getting aboard, getting their game up without really too much speculation from their own press.
Well, it widens your palette as well, doesn't
Massively,
it?
Yeah.
If you meet players from different backgrounds, play a different sort of football, I think all that sort of thing's really important.
Absolutely.
You know what? Talking of players from the academy, there's a comment there from Smithy Russ, which Spike's going to pull up for me.
What a great segue.
Bendel. I know. Did you like that little link in there? I watch Alfie Bendel most weeks at Eastbourne Borough, a great player. Will definitely go into Wimbledon squad next season. I think this is one of the positives to take from this season is, look, some people feel like our league campaign might be fizzling out a little bit. Maybe playoffs is a big ask, 10 points adrift at this stage of the season. But look, we've got to take the positives. So, Jack Curry's had a season and we could potentially get good money in the summer. Hassan Bila, we've sent out a lot of players out on loan from the academy at the moment. and Alfie Bendel's learning his trade. So
the full message there is, if Wimbledon squad next season, if we stay in League Two, yes, we will be. And really,
how nice is it to say we're safe in
it's great, isn't it?
We're
just playing for fun. We're just playing for fun, aren't we? And really standing out like Jack Curry did. And it's a really good point, because Jack Curry had spent a year at Eastbourne Borough, come in and looked really polished, didn't he? If we can get this, obviously Alfie Bendel's not had a full season.
But I think, honestly, the last time I was down here was for the FA Youth Cup game against Leeds. And I've rarely come away. Okay, we talked about the Orient game, and I was drunk for days off that. I have to say, I haven't had such a good feeling many more times leaving Plough Lane than after that Youth Cup game.
I agree.
Because you look at Bendel, you look at Morgan Williams, you look at Aaron Sassu.
Yep.
All those players, they're going to be players for us. They're really going to be players for us.
Yeah. If not, they'll generate a fee, which is also equally as good, because money goes a long way.
Yeah, I think Sassu definitely looks like one. It's difficult, isn't it, sometimes to get forwards are always the ones that everyone wants, don't they? And to get them out of a youth team is difficult, just as much as goalkeepers are. And
Spike
of course,
Brits
our namesake Spike got into the England under-16s. I don't know if you noticed, but the teams that he was playing, the players he was playing with, all were Premier League clubs.
Yeah.
So it's a really good, another goalkeeper, isn't it? And Ashley
It's
Bays.
incredible, our record of goalkeepers going up, and you're just wondering how Bezo's still with us.
I love his comment. Shame we can't swap managers. You wouldn't want Steve Evans.
No. Jackson Ball's what we want. There you go. Shame we can't swap managers.
We're too nice. Well, actually, we used to be too nice. we used to be too nice. I was going to say league fixtures tonight. I think we've got other...
We're testing Spike's ability to search through loads of graphics. There we go. Lovely stuff. Let Stevenage just drop out of the top two with Carlisle jumping above them. And then there's some other games today. Barrow hosting Salford. Bradford going to Gillingham, doing the trip that we did just 4 days ago. Harrogate hosting Northampton and Crawley visiting Tranmere. Crawley look like they could be in a bit of trouble. I mean, they've got quite a lot of games in hand. I don't know how, because I don't think they've gone far in the cup or anything.
Did they have some games called off potentially? I think, didn't they? I think they lost some games to the weather and stuff.
I see.
The thing that's interesting is the playoffs are changing so much at the moment. There's a group underneath that, Bradford and stuff. I was just thinking, Stevenage are under a bit of pressure. Carlisle have gone into second place.
Yeah.
Leighton Orient now look like they've probably run away with it. But there's pressure on Stevenage tonight. And there's probably not pressure on us.
Well, the thing is, their away record's quite poor, isn't it? Like we said earlier, and aren't unbeaten in 9. As if EFL Sky Bet League 2 tweets are to me.
I don't think Stevenage, to be fair, I don't think Stevenage would come out of the top two. I don't think Northampton would. I thought the three at the top were quiet.
I thought Northampton would run away with this year, with how heartbroken they would have been with the fact they lost out on a 97th minute goal or something, where Bristol won 7-1, something ridiculous.
Yeah, we still got Salford and Mansfield to come to our place.
Yeah.
So it's fun. We can muck up people.
Yeah.
We could just for fun.
We could just be like
no pressure on us.
We can just be a slip up point. That's it. Just.
But this is, I say, Stevenage tonight. They need points.
Yeah.
They need points. It's a game in hand for them, isn't it? So.
And quite often when teams need points, they don't play up to their strengths as much. So I think we might see a bit of a scrappy affair for the first half, especially with both teams that don't score in the first half. I think it could be quite defensive, quite passive to start off with, which will make for great value for money as well.
So you're saying a Lee Brown game, not an Ethan Chislett game?
Yes, I think that is that's a much better way to put it.
Maybe if Lee Brown plays his game, we'll get a set piece that Ethan Chislett takes at some point.
I mean, that would be
ideal, really, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Do you know, there's some interesting battles there. Do you know what I mean? Like Jake Reeves in the midfield with Woody and that. Chislett's a good shout. Where does he find the space? Because he doesn't want to be too far up against them, does he? He wants to come and drop and get some ball that way, doesn't he?
I think that's really the question, isn't it? Like, how's the midfield going to shake out? I mean, I think we have to assume that Casey McAteer is going to play in midfield, given that we've got no Curry. And it's going to be a back four. So does that give McAteer the opportunity to show something? Is the midfield a diamond, or does Chislett and McAteer play out wide? Because, of course, he's playing right wing back at the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I feel like potentially we're going to see a 4-2-2-2 formation, personally. I would like to see McAteer in the number 10 role, just giving a bit of freedom in the number 10, but I think with, unless we switch to a 4-4-2 diamond, which I can't see us doing tonight, I feel like we might see a 4-2-2-2. I think the interesting battle for me is Stu mentioned Reeves up against Woodyard. For me, I'm interested to see how Reeves goes against Armani Little, because Armani Little reminds me a bit of Reeves, of his engine there in midfield. I feel like we've lacked that over the last few years, whereas he had the era with everyone's favourite duo of Tom Stores and Liam Trotter in midfield.
How did we get onto that?
But when we had Reeves, he was mobile, Little's mobile, so I'm intrigued to see how them two that midfield battle today.
Trials at Chelmsford now.
Mate, he's got a worldie, hasn't he?
Yeah, trials at
95th
Chelmsford.
minute winner.
Makes you laugh when you put Chelmsford. They used to be our rivals, didn't they? Do you know what I mean? And the battles, and now you got Trotter playing there.
Just a quick comment there about who's going to be playing where behind the three behind Davison. I think if we do go 4-2-3-1, I think it could be Ali in behind Davison. Just to maybe have that almost Pell effect where he kind of plays as a second striker.
Yeah.
With obviously then Chislett and McAteer out wide. I imagine McAteer on the right because he played right wing back. I guess it's probably be in terms of. But I think he looked unreal when
he's
he came
versatile
on.
though, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's the great thing about him. He's versatile in that. I quite like him. Saturday was difficult for Ryan Little as well. But then do you know what? He's allowed one average game. Do you know what I mean?
Of course,
he's been a revelation. I think the key is like we're not going to out-battle them, are we? Do you know what I mean? If you're going to really want to try and drag them out into the wide areas, be truthful, you don't play through the middle really too much.
Because you've got some serious pace as well when it's needed. Like Ali is very fast. Josh as well. When Josh is unleashed, he's rapid. And I think a lot of people just assume because he's quite strong, he's going to be a bit more of a target man, a bit slower. But he beats defenders quite. Oh, is there a couple we've had where Nick Zanev's booted the ball over the top, but Josh has run onto it, touched it, and slotted it away beautifully. Yeah. So hopefully we can get some.
I think the biggest problem Josh has got at the moment is his hair. Like, if you notice the Hartlepool game, right? I was looking back at the highlights. His hairband went early on, and there was literally a ball played wide, and all you can see is Josh literally trying to get his hair out of his face. So maybe it's just maybe he needs a sponsor, a hairband sponsor or something. Do you know what I mean? He's got some. I know I can't comment on hair, but it was just one of the things I noticed. Like, it's quite serious. You have to get it out of his eyes. And
it's good for defenders. It will get in the face. They can't see the ball.
I noticed a comment come in from Sir Oinkdy. I think I pronounced that right, from USA. Asking, are they paying you guys for this coverage? Honestly, professional grade analysis. Come on, you dons. I'm just thinking if anyone is watching from AFC Wimbledon and want to give us some sort of contract, put it on the table. But no, we are volunteers for the club.
To be fair, I haven't seen all the others. This is just a fluke. We just sound like we. To be honest with you, there's no pressure.
Framed.
Do you know what? There's just no pressure, is there? We can enjoy tonight.
It's because we've got the professional Andy with us today. That's what it is.
Definitely.
He's upped our standards.
We're trying to bring him down to our level.
There's still time. We've still
got about 5 minutes. So.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Why don't you have 5 players on the bench? Unfortunately, I'm not aware of the actual Johnny Jackson reason, but I'm assuming it's injuries and just a lack of squad depth in terms of.
I was going to say it's going to be injuries and the fact that we've loaned out all our youngsters. Quayne Bartley's gone to Harrow Barrow, for example, but I'm surprised we haven't put Sassu on the bench, for example, who, like Andy referenced, he was superb in the FA Youth Cup, and I don't believe he's gone out. Just even if you're not going to bring him on, I think it's just a good experience being on the bench for some of these young players. We took Morgan Williams up to Bolton last season, for example.
Aaron Sassu was on the bench again. Came on against Pompey and the Papa Johns, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think
Sassu.
Yeah. Early on the season, I think it was. I remember the rain from that, just covering the whole. It was horrible.
It's interesting what Andy was saying, because I was here for the Leeds game as well, and you see Sassu in against pro players, and then you see him up against his level, and he really stood out.
I
don't think that right back. Literally, I felt sorry for the right back.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing. You've got 2 wide players on the bench here who aren't going to be here next season. And maybe with the position we're in, at least if we were a month down the line, if Sassu's playing instead of them, that feels better to me. I think the potential for Sassu is absolutely huge because not only is he already pretty good, I don't think he's grown into his body yet. I don't think maybe he's going to fill out a little bit, not too much obviously because you want him to retain that pace, but I don't think he's worked out how to use his physicality, and you saw that against Premier League players, as you were saying. He's awkward to deal with. To have a wide player who's quick and that big, it's quite an unusual profile, isn't it?
It's funny because about a couple of seasons ago I saw Sassu and George Jones knows quite a lot about the academy, and I asked him about him. I was like, who's this target man we've got in the academy? Because he was about 2 feet taller than any other player. And George told me he's not a target man, he's a winger with a lot of pace. So but his build, it's quite rare for a winger with that kind of build. And as Andy said, if he can grow and develop into his body, do some work down gym, get him a loan, could be a real prospect for us in a few years' time.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to draw away from real life, but I'm quite a Foot Manager addict, and he is very good at Foot Manager. So if he's anything like he is on my save, we're in for a treat.
If you're a Football Manager addict, I think you'll end up being 15 games unbeaten in League 1 before you know it, won't you? So,
and the club paying £22,000 a game for me, which is
Do you know what we last in the week we had the meet the manager, but a Q&A session, and Craig Cope was, and I asked him afterwards. I said I was going to embarrass you, but I didn't want to. But I was going to say, are you any good at football manager? And he went, no, he's rubbish. he's an analytical person. How can? Because I was going to ask him a question like, are you good at football manager, and who are the top tips? Sort of. So, and he said he's rubbish at it. How can you be rubbish if you're analytical? Well,
Tell you what, I'm pretty good. Got promoted 2 years in a row, so
it's too in depth for me.
To be fair, I do let quite a lot of my backroom staff do a lot of the work for me. But football manager anecdotes
delegation
aside,
is the importance
exactly.
of leadership.
Team working,
Yeah, that's right.
However, football manager chat aside, I think we'll jump into some predictions and then get ourselves back down into the wonderful plough lane and watch, hopefully, Don's victory. So, Stu, predictions.
I don't see many goals in this. I would love to say I would love to say a 3-2, but I can see it probably being a tight 1-1 tonight.
Yeah, tight 1-1. Andy or Rob, who wants to go first?
I'll let Andy go first.
It was easy to look to my right, it was just one.
Yeah, that's fine. Andy, go first.
1-1 for me as well,
1-1.
I'm afraid. So that gives you the casting.
Go on, Rob.
You know what's annoying is I was going to go 1-1. I feel like I can't have 3-1, so I'm going to go with, it's got to be a 2-1 win, 90th minute winner, hopefully.
Who's the winner? Who's scoring?
Broom.
Broom, yeah.
We've already
Broom on.
decided that, haven't we?
I don't care. It can come off someone's backside for I care. Do you know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
It's even more funny if it comes off someone's backside because Steve Evans was good doing that, wasn't he?
Oh, that'd be great. I want to watch interview.
I feel like we're due a defender from a corner. Will Nightingale.
Calambay.
Will Nightingale. There we go.
I really hope Chris Hall's got bench cam tonight because that.
Yeah.
I know where I'll be putting it.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of empty seats, isn't there? So,
Let's make sure he's done that.
all right, there we go. All done. Lovely stuff. We will head down to the seats now. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining me today, and hopefully we'll be joining you on the post-match for some positivity.